heavily punished. Savage got punished. Life coach got punished.
Nyria
Naria
got punished.
got punished. Yeah, that's just been like absolutely crushing victories from people who did get to play their hunter.
Yeah. All right. So I kind of want to talk a bit more about the teams that these two players are on that we're waiting for. iHeartU, Team Solo Mid, TSM. They're kind of the more unique Hearthstone teams out there today. Like feel like Hearthstone teams typically can be broken up into two types of teams. One of them is like teams that are run by big organizations. They're like the Cloud9s, the Team Liquids, kind of like the TSMs as well. But I feel like TSM is a bit different in that their players are mostly big streamers and not mainly focused on the competitive scene. So they're kind of more like they're more individuals than they are more as a team. Would you say that's fairly accurate?
I think that could make a lot of sense. Yes, I think I would tend to agree with you here that TSM tends to take, not necessarily, they won't necessarily go for Kolento immediately, right off the bat. They will try to take people with which they can get a bit of exposure out of it. So it's promoting, talented players, but also trying for the exposure. Which yes, I would tend to agree with you. iHeartU, I think it all came down from DKMR initially, right? Don't Kick My Robot. It started
Yeah.
off as a kind of a fun team. I think Powder was one of the first few on that team a long time ago, unless I'm mistaken.
I think there were like a bunch of other players beforehand.
Yeah.
But he was out of the players that are remaining. I believe he's one of the earliest players that to join DKMR.
Yeah. There were a lot of people on there a long time ago.
Yeah, as I was saying, like the other type of team that aren't part of big organizations are like the teams that have spawned off of Hearthstone. They're like the Tempo Storms and the Archons of the world. And iHeartU, just like TSM, it belongs in one of those categories. It belongs in the self-spawn category, but it's a little different from all the other self-spawn teams. Like, there's no big name streamer that owns the teams. There's no Reynad, there's no Omaz at the head of iHeartU. So
yeah,
I
it's
feel
true.
like
But although it did start off, I think the iHeartU adventure started off a long time ago with Artosis, or at least he was one of the initial players in the midst of iHeartU's founding in a way. That goes back to the first BlizzCon invitational, Innkeeper's Invitational. I forget the name. Anyway, it was such a long time ago.
All right. After talking about the teams, we've gotten word that the third match will be starting soon. Massan has been awarded the second match, and we're going to actually see a Warrior Mirror coming up next.
Warrior Mirrors. This is gonna take a long time, but it's fine. I mean, if Powder's mirror like Warrior is adapted to GVG, the Shredders are gonna play a big role, and I'd like to see that kind of thing. And hopefully, we don't get another disconnect in this case. That would be really unfortunate to not see a single game go to its very end, considering the position that Powder was in during those matches, especially.
Yeah, Warrior versus Mirror Warrior, not something that we've seen lately. But I'm excited. I'm buckled in. I really hope there's no disconnects, especially if we have to cast like a 20-minute Warrior versus Warrior Mirror and the game disconnects in like the 19th minute.
This is gonna be it's just gonna be disheartening because he's about to hit lethal. Your opponent left. Oh, that's gonna be the worst.
Wow, you do a really good gnome impression or an innkeeper impression. I was really impressed there. Whoa.
I don't know if that was broadcasted, but all I know is the Warrior just conceded. Somebody died.
So, yeah. Well, Powder, you know what? If Powder had to disconnect, it might as well be in the first minute, I guess, or the first.
Okay, so it's
seconds.
either disconnect or him just quitting. He's just like, you know what? Screw this. To disconnect, I can't come back. But I doubt that's the case. A lot of these players tend to just stick it in no matter what. They'll just try to put as much effort into the games as they can, even though the first few might have been bad.
So we're getting word from the admins again. There's been a re-ruling. We're actually going to see Warrior versus Paladin again. The last game was so close that the admins have decided that they need to replay that game.
All right, that's pretty awesome. So we're gonna see another one of those matches again. Paladin being a really one of those low curve paladins instead of the Savage type, or I don't know how you want to call it. Just a very turtle-ish paladin. Instead, we're gonna see something with zombie chows, knife jugglers, a little bit of aggression. Did Massan get to see the knife jugglers earlier?
No, he didn't see the knife jugglers. He only saw the zombie chows.
Yeah, so he might just not know that there's gonna be knife jugglers coming out out of that deck.
Yeah, but I feel like knife juggler isn't a card you really prepare for when you're facing a paladin. Like,
Yeah.
if the knife juggler is there on the board, okay, you try to deal with it with like a fire war axe or something.
Well, you don't have to prep for it the way that you would have to prep for somebody, including a Kel'Thuzad in their deck.
All right, from the opening hands, we see two very key cards in this matchup. Harrison Jones to kill off the weapons. Well, actually, Harrison Jones for both players.
For both players, yeah.
Yeah, we also have Baron Geddon, which can clear off the 1/1s very easily for the warrior player.
It's just a bit under the Quartermaster combo, but it can do it preemptively in case he needs to. Which is generally what you do. You'll set up the Muster and then Quartermaster as opposed to doing it both on the same turn.
Yeah, but I feel like, especially against warrior, you want to probably set up the Muster for battle plus the Quartermaster on the
because
same
of
turn.
Whirlwind. Whirlwind
because,
plays
yeah.
are just too dangerous.
Whirlwind,
And
Baron
Geddon as
Geddon.
well, I guess.
And it's also that warrior has so much difficulty removing the 3/3 minions from the Silverhand recruits.
Oh, Karen Bloodhoof is in that Paladin deck. I was saying just how we didn't see much of him anymore, and there he is.
Yeah, Karen Bloodhoof, very good against warrior.
Yeah.
Just like the piloted Sky Golems, warrior doesn't run many silences, if any, so they'll just have to pretty much remove Karen Bloodhoof both halves just by hand, manually, the hard way.
And this is a bit of an awkward spot for the warrior because he hasn't found a fiery war axe in this starting hand, and so he's gonna have to hope to transition into some decent mid game, which obviously I guess Death Spite will do.
Yeah, he needs
It's full
to,
value actually.
he needs to coin out this Death Spite right now because he just needs to prepare for a potential Quartermaster that's coming in 2 turns. He basically needs to set up the Whirlwind effect for turn 4.
Yeah, and now Senjin Shieldmaster is sort of a dead card because if you play it out, Death Spite is going to kill it alongside your 1/1s. So you want to force the warrior to use his Whirlwind effect on maybe just your 1/1s so that you don't lose any more cards or invest any more cards in this specific circumstance.
Yeah, we saw we saw Powder trying to consider the Truce Over Champion and just not attacking with it, but he deemed it unnecessary because what is a warrior going to put out on turn 4, especially a warrior that's more of the old style warrior that doesn't run the piloted shredders.
And
And
yeah,
then
we
if-
didn't
if-
see Paladin Shredders.
If you don't attack with it the next turn, then you're just risking yourself to Harrison Jones on turn 5.
Yep. Oh wow, so there will be no playing around Quartermaster here.
Well, this sort of also
Well, it
like
sort of does, yes. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, I was going to expand on it. Apparently, I didn't really consider it, but it really does somewhat play around it. All right.
all right, he's gonna feed a Sludge Belcher into the Death Spite, but that's all right.
Feed a Sludge Belcher into Death Spite. That's still fine. So there is a Whirlwind in Massan's deck. That's another Whirlwind effect you can rely on to beat Paladin. So that's going to be another tool in Massan's favor in this matchup.
By Gara. Gara has gone offline. We'll be seeing more of Gara later on.
Yeah, he'll be playing later in the round of 8 because he did move on against RDU 3-1, I believe, with his Shaman deck.
Yeah, and
Ooh,
Gara.
silences. We spoke of silences not being there.
But do you even use it?
Not
Yeah,
now,
you-
no.
Yeah, I feel like in this matchup you have to save it for Tyrion. So
Tyrion Forging. Well, he does run the
speaking of
Black
Tyrion-
Knight and Harrison Jones, so there might be a... It depends on what he gets, but there might be a point where he's happy to do it. There is no Brawl. Dr. Boom is coming down next turn, though, for Massan.
So now Powder has to weigh what he wants to do with this turn. Is he going to play into Brawl or is he going to commit more to the board? I like the amount of commitment that this is.
It's halfway
enough.
through. It's just,
Yeah, it's halfway through. It's not too weak against Brawl, and it sets up well so that you can kind of try to deal with Dr. Boom if it comes down on turn 7.
Which is exactly what's going on right now. So do you have to Do you kill the Boombot first? What if it kills the slime? Okay, it did not kill the slime.
Let's see where this. Okay, Boombot to face. Very good.
Whoa, this is a high pressure moment here. If there is a brawl, he would still need to silence the Cairn Bloodhoof in order to get maximum value out of it. This shield block going to be surprisingly useful in this case. It's going to allow him to kill the Tyrian Forging fairly effectively.
Is he gonna? Okay, he shield slams that. It looked for a second that he was gonna shield slam the slime, but that would have been a little ridiculous.
You know what? That would have been funny though. We could have had an interview afterwards to ask him what he was thinking.
Yeah, he's like, I just really hate slimes. It killed my father.
I hate those things.
A slime killed my father one day.
Alright, so Senju Shieldmaster coming down. Now that there's no Death's Bite developed, it's going to be a little easier to justify putting down. And as you said, you know, it's very nice that he's putting out a fair amount of minions without ever overextending at this point. I feel like the way he's been pacing his minion plays have been very, very nice.
Alright, Rag is gonna come down.
Execute Ragnaros here. You have to execute first because if you just hit it and it doesn't actually die, you're not going to be any... Ooh, perfect hit. He's only got 7 damage on the board right now.
Oh, wow, Ysera.
When's the last time I saw her? What?
Powder actually can't deal with this Ragnaros. That's
no, he's got no way in the immediate sense. Like, it had to hit... Like, if it hit Senjin, he was fine. If it hit Face, it would have taken, you know, 16 damage, but it would have been able to do it. As it is, though, this is really, really troublesome.
Yeah, this is definitely a new style of Paladin. It's very defensive, but it curves out into big threats like Tyrian and Ysera. Actually, when I say it's a new style of Paladin, I mean to say it's actually an old style.
Style of Paladin, yeah. It's a new, like, it's a recycled style of Paladin. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's a style of Paladin that was around like around when even before Naxxramas came out.
Really. Yep. It was like the most. It was a mix of. It was mid range basically. Well, Harrison Jones is almost too good. I don't know what other weapon are you gonna get. You're gonna wait for muster for battle, I'm guessing.
Well, more importantly, I just saw that Powder has gone offline again.
But he's got the entire turns from Massan to. I think Massan is waiting right now. I think he knows what play he wants to make.
Massan looks like he's. Massan actually looks like he's waiting for his opponent. Yeah. I think he also saw that Powder went offline. I think Massan's being smart right now. He's taking the full amount of the turn, even though it's a very obvious play to give his opponent more time to reconnect.
So let's see if the Paladin comes back in time, or if the game is going to be... it was going to have to be forfeited again.
Guardian of Kings, another card we don't see very often from Paladin anymore. But again, it's
recycled, eh?
It's a very defensive card. So along with the Senjin Shieldmaster, it allows for a pretty good matchup against Hunters overall.
I think this deck is very well tailored around Hunter, while not necessarily surrendering the entirety of your control matches. Oh, well, that's it. Apparently, Powder just disconnects again. Whatever the cause may be, Massan... So this is the second time we've played Paladin against Warrior. Instead of redoing, instead of giving the first win to Massan, we had to redo the match. Same thing happens. In this case, Massan is going to take it, I believe. I don't know if they're going to redo the game for a third time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe we might be able to delay this game a bit.
And move on to another match, because if the disconnects are going to be a continual problem. That's the kind of thing you just don't want to see happen, but I mean, I guess VPNs are good.
Yep. Anti DDoS measures are pretty good, I hear.
Yeah, you try your best to protect yourself against that stuff.
All right, Massan.
Waiting for the rulings from the admin, see if he's gonna win. Yeah, apparently his score went up 2-0 here on the best of 5 on the left. So Massan is gonna go 2-0 in this case, and Powder's gonna have to move on to his Warrior. So the next game will be played. Apparently, there's been no change in that specific plan, but we still need to wait for Powder to reconnect in the first place.
Yeah, the ruling officially is that Massan has won that match, Warrior versus Paladin. So we're going to try to play our final match, hopefully soon when Powder comes back. So we've
Yep.
had 3 games disconnect so far. Hopefully a 4th game.
That doesn't disconnect. Yeah, it's really hard to actually just small talking between the games. It seems ridiculous, but I mean, I've pretty much exhausted what I have to say about Warrior versus Warrior. I've done what I could. Like I'm just out of ideas. Piloted shredders, man.
Piloted Shredders, Fiery War Axes. We could just list all the cards that could potentially be in a Warrior
Okay,
deck.
you know what? Let's play a game. Let's play a game. Off your head, off the top of your head, name as many cards for Warrior that you can think of, and I'm gonna double check them on the hard head as we speak.
Just like a normal Warrior deck.
Not a Warrior deck, just all the Warrior cards that you can remember off the top of your head. And this is gonna be your the ultimate knowledge test. Let's do this. Go.
The thing is, like, I don't even know the names of the GVG Warrior. Like, I don't know what the 1/3 Enrage 1 card is called.
Okay, well, it's fine that you remember what it does. I guess you don't need the name then.
I also don't know the 2/5 mech that buffs other mechs to 2/2.
But you know what it does, so that's fine. I'll give you that
Alright,
one.
that
So you know
counts,
2
alright.
cards, that's fine.
So